Gentle Jesus, meek and mild, look upon a little child, pity my simplicity. Suffer me to come to thee. Loving Jesus, gentle Lamb, in thy gracious hands I am. Make me Saviour what thou art. Live thyself within my heart. A hymn of Charles Wesley with a soft and gentle notion of the character of Jesus, but all too one-sided, causing some of us to struggle even more with passages of scriptures and demonstrations such as we've had this evening on that passage. For we see here a less sentimentalized and instead a more rounded, robust, and very angry Jesus. How else do we make sense of an unsuspecting fig tree being cursed for not having fruit simply because Jesus was hungry? An action that has unnerved many because an angry Jesus, taking his frustration out on his environment, doesn't fit with everything else that we read about him in Scripture, or even our innate sense of who he is. Something here again about the ambiguousness of Jesus, as outlined last night by our own very Reverend Ian Barcroft. Maybe. Who could blame Jesus for being angry? After all, the people were clamoring. The religious authorities were becoming more and more dangerously disapproving, creating conditions of a man under pressure. A man under pressure? Or is there more to it than this? Of course, Jesus is not acting out of frustration, nor is he in any sense out of control. Others around him are beginning to lose the plot. Their anger is moving towards a fever pitch, and in a fairly short period of time, this anger will become murderous. But Jesus has something much more positive to say in the face of all that is unfolding. More so than the incident of the fig tree, the turning of the tables in the temple is well known, no doubt, in part because of the high drama we saw this evening. The high drama and the contrast of an otherwise non-violent Jesus. But Jesus was clearly infuriated by what was taking place at the temple. Opportunistic salesmen hawking their wares, so pilgrims who came from all over the world to make sacrifice found that they were met by the marketplace. Pigeons being sold, no doubt, at hiked prices, all not as it seemed to be. These salesmen were doing great business, but that should not have been the business of the temple. No wonder Jesus was angry. It is written, "My house will be called a house of prayer, but you are making it a den of robbers." The world had soiled and tarnished that which was meant to be pure and holy. Not a place to do great business, but one in which the business of God is greatest when people are at prayer. Prayer is the business of the church. But I wonder, as the world crashes in on us and our priorities appear to move from mission to preserving mausoleums, I wonder if Jesus would be any less angry with what he says taking place in some places of worship today. We may not see the buying and selling of pigeons, but what do people do to ensure that the show goes on? One of the major factors that sparked the Reformation was that to ensure a good income for the building of St. Peter's, the faithful were being sold indulgences to save the souls of their loved ones. In short, ordinary people were being ripped off in the name of God by money changers and thieves. A trap we would do well to avoid as the world presses in. For where your treasure is, your heart will be also. In contrast to what was going on amongst the exploitative, dishonest, and greedy, Jesus shows another way. His way, the way of God. The blind and the lame came to him at the temple, and he healed them. As others were taking from the needy, Jesus gave to them. He gave to them by healing, so that the blind could see and the lame could walk. No charge. As it was with Jesus, so it should be with the church. For healing is the work of the church. Now, when I say healing is the work of the church, I'm not particularly talking about miracles, although I'm not ruling them out. I'm talking about bringing healing to a broken world through our lives, our actions, and our message. That there is an alternative to godlessness, to selfishness, to greed, and to exploitation. Showing that Christ is still at work through us and his people, reflecting the notions of the prayer of St. Francis of Assisi, make me a channel of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me bring your love. Where there is injury, your pardon, Lord. And where there's doubt, true faith in you. Which brings us nicely back to that poor old fig tree. To get a handle on this, we need to understand something about fig trees. Fig trees around Jerusalem normally begin to get leaves in March and April and don't produce figs until their leaves are out around June. Here there was something unusual about this fig tree because it was out of season at Passover time. It was already full of leaves, too early. It wasn't the season for figs. And it was probably that attracted Jesus to it in the first place, assisted by the fact that he was a little on the hungry side. So we read, seeing in the distance a fig tree in leaf, he went to find out if it had any fruit. It didn't. And a tree that had all the outward appearance of being a tree that would bear fruit had no fruit at all. All the outward appearance of bearing fruit, yet it had no fruit at all. Hold that thought. You see, here was an opportunity for Jesus to give an object lesson to the disciples. A tree that gave all the outward appearance of bearing fruit, yet it didn't, was not unlike the situation in the temple that had all the outward appearance of religion, but it bore none of the fruit of God. Jesus, using this, demonstrates to the disciples, effectively saying to them that rather than powerless religion, the faith we should be exercising is the faith that can cause fruitless religion to wither and to replace it with faith that can move mountains. What the temple was representing did not represent God and was withering in terms of truth. And the Lord was calling his disciples and us to understand we can do better. For faith is the strength of the church. Prayer is the business of the church. Healing is the work of the church. And faith is the strength of the church. That, my friends, is the heart of the matter. And we've already heard, for where your treasure is, your heart will be also. As pressure grew, a not so meek and mild Jesus was angry. Angry not because of any weakness of the flesh or a pressure bearing down on him. He was angry because a lot of the religion that was around him was misrepresenting God and failing God's mission. And as we move further into Holy Week, how focused are we in having our hearts in the right place? In the right place to receive all that Christ has to give. And to give all that he calls us to. Demonstrating by how we live out our lives. God is not dead, but very much alive and at work in the world. For salvation comes from the Lord.